Hello, and welcome to this week's In Conversation. My name is Phil Jackman, and I lead on CyberNorth, Dynamo Northeast cybersecurity cluster, supported by Accenture and the Innovation Super Network. Each week, I talk to people in the Northeast cybersecurity scene. And today, I'm joined by Rebecca Chapman from South Yorkshire Police and the Northeast Business Resilience Centre. Morning, Rebecca, how are you?
Morning, I'm good, thank you.
Good. And where are we talking to you from today?
So I'm in a not so sunny Sheffield at the moment.
Good, because we're in a not so sunny Morpeth, but there you go. So can we start off then a bit telling us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'll cough to the fact that I was 50 a couple of weeks ago, so I've suffered a big birthday in lockdown, and I was also married 20 years on the same day, so double celebration. I live in Sheffield. I'm married to a retired police officer. He retired at the end of October. I've got 2 teenage kids and a small dog. And then I joined the police after working for Topshop. So I used to work for Topshop as a retail manager in about the late 80s, shall we say, when the Burton Group was around. And in a fit of pique, I decided to join the police in 1993. So I found myself doing training in a very, very cold and rainy Durham for 15 weeks. And then I came back to Sheffield City Centre, and that was my first beat patrol, really. And I guess since then, I've done so many things in 27 years. I've done attachments to CID, shoplifting, neighbourhoods teams. I got promoted to sergeant in 2001, and then inspector 2005, and chief inspector 2015. And during that time, I sort of had my kids and did various other roles. So I did custody, I've done policy, research and development, legal services, performance and governance, and then I ended up finally in intelligence in about 2015, which was a real shock to the system, going back to CID after so long. And I took on the role of intelligence superintendent, which first introduced me to cybercrime and digital forensics and that world. So when the job came up at the region, which is the current job that I do now, it's on a team that deals with collaboration across all 7 forces in the Northeast. So you've got Durham, Northumbria, Cleveland, North Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire and Humberside, and we're part of the old ACPO number 2 region. And I work on a collaboration team, so anything we're looking at collaborating on, it comes into my team and we do a business case and take the project forward. So one of the projects that I was taken on to deal with was cybercrime. So I also do digital forensics and forensic collision. But as part of that, obviously, the NEBRC was born out of that. But I suppose in addition to that, it sounds like I'm really busy, doesn't it? But I go back and I go back and I also work for South Yorkshire Police occasional weekends doing firearms duties. So I'm a firearms commander, CBRN commander, post-incident manager, and I go on the authorities rota as well. So sounds like a lot, but let's just squeeze it in.
Yep. I don't know how you managed to fit everything in, but I think you and I first met as part of the setup of the NEBRC, which I'll come back to in a minute if you don't mind. But I hope you don't mind me saying, I think you've explained, but you strike me as a career police person and police officer. Things must have changed enormously though since those days back in Topshop, particularly relating to cybercrime.
Yeah, crikey. So, I mean, when I first started, so not only the uniform, so it was skirts and very tight trousers. And if you wanted a pair of decent trousers, you had to have men's. And we had handbags, and I had a stocking allowance, can you believe, back then? So it was a bit like life on Mars, I suppose. And it, you know, they used to do bottle testers. They used to make you go out on patrol on your own as a woman just to make sure you could hack it in the real world, so to speak. But I suppose the biggest change is resources and technology. So, you know, back in the day, we used to put out a good sort of 30 officers and 4 sergeants just from Sheffield City Centre on nights. And now we probably turn out 55 to 60 across the whole of the city. So entirely different. Austerity's made a huge difference, but it's also helped us, I think, become a bit more streamlined and embrace technology a bit better. So when I first joined, obviously there were no mobile phones, and then pagers came in, and then mobile phones came in. So, you know, all we've ever had to rely on was police radios. So I think the police are sometimes quite late in coming to technology because of the amount of time it takes to procure technological solutions for such a big organisation. And obviously there's 43 of us, so
nowadays you seem to carry so much on them that it's just unbelievable. But so cybercrime, how big is, how significant is cybercrime now in the day-to-day activities of the police?
Yeah, so I think probably what staff still don't realise, and which we're still working on, is that it seeps through everything that we do. So even traditional crime has cyber elements to it. So, you know, when we're going to investigate crimes like burglaries or domestic abuse, we need to think perhaps a little differently these days. So there's always going to be a cyber element. So, for example, one of the cases that I give when I speak to officers is there was a domestic assault, which it was a man on his ex-partner, and when he got to her house, he ran up the stairs, assaulted her, and then he left. Nobody saw him. There was no CCTV. He denied it, but we got hold of his smartwatch, and his smartwatch put him at the location at the time of the offence, and also his heart rate was elevated when he went upstairs and he committed the crime. So that taken together meant that CPS would take the charge, whereas previously they might not have taken the charge. So I'm always encouraging officers now, and we've got a digital hygiene package which gives them the basics of cyber. I'm always encouraging them when they go to traditional crimes now to start looking for the cyber elements. So start looking at the Ring doorbell, start looking at the Internet of Things. You know, think about what's around you and what you can glean information from.
So in that case, the watch was smarter than him, I think.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. But I think there's a case of teaching old dogs new tricks. So people like me didn't grow up in a technological era, and so they're going to sort of sway the bus across the forces that need that basic understanding of what you're looking for. But then we've also got the younger end coming in, and for them it's second nature. So you know, it's just a way of trying to even out the knowledge throughout the forces.
Yeah, so you have 10 years of me. I'm 10 years older than you, Rebecca. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. But so is this kind of the thinking behind then the setting up the NEBRC?
Yeah, so absolutely. So as part of the NETIC team, what I was charged with was looking for best practice. So, you know, we found it all over the region, really. So we in Durham, we found the cyber hygiene training package, which we rolled out to the other forces. But then, you know, the protect work that the Yorkshire ROCU do is incredible. You know, they're leaders probably in the UK, so they're really good at that. But then obviously Scotland had this thing called the Scottish Business Resilience Centre. So I heard about it quite early on, went to see it. And it's effectively the business arm of the police, and it deals with the community safety, crime prevention issues. Obviously, one of their things is cybercrime. We're concentrating on cybercrime, but we probably will move into other areas. But it's with that in mind, it's that kind of best practice and bringing that to the region.
So what's the centre trying to achieve, and how far are you on that journey?
Okay, so it's trying to reach, basically, we've got 563,000 small and medium enterprises in the northeast of England, and it's basically to try and keep them safe from cybercrime. So to educate, to help them prepare for the attack happening, or to help them after a cyber attack has happened. And also, because of the way that we use our students to do affordable cybersecurity services, what we're trying to do is help fill that skills gap as well in the region. So, you know, to help the universities understand what the businesses want in terms of future employees, but also make those students work ready by giving them that experience from the centre to go out and do that cybersecurity advice. So it's a win-win, really. So your small medium enterprise gets you know, really good affordable cybersecurity services from really bright, enthusiastic, talented students that we've specially selected, but also, you know, the businesses on the other end of it, when they come out the other end, will get skilled employees. So it's a good three-way street, really, if there is such a thing.
I do agree with you. I think it's a good way of creating new talent and investing in that talent. And where are we now in the journey with? I know you've been doing a lot of work with Northumbria.
Yes. So, oh gosh, yes. So we're working with obviously Northumbria to do to upskill the students, and we've got a really good guy called Kyle Bowes who used to work for the Scottish Business Resilience Centre as their chief hacker. So he's our director of student services at the moment, and he's helping mentor and train all those students to make them work ready. but we've actually got, you know, customers that are waiting at the moment. We've been really fortunate because we launched our centre last November, and we've had a great deal of funding from the Home Office through the National Cybersecurity Programme. So we launched our centre last November. We've had a board, an advisory group. We've got some cracking members, including yourself, Phil, of course. And we've used really their expertise to help us plan and execute our campaigns. We're really closely aligned to the advice that the National Cybersecurity Centre sends out. We don't want to give out any advice really that isn't following government advice. But that kind of injection of local business to let us know what's going on in our region is meant that we can plan our campaigns. So for example, the most recent one, we knew everybody was going back to work on the 15th of June, or a majority of people were going back to work then. So we planned a campaign around, right, you're going back to work, you've got a fresh set of eyes now, you've all been working from home, you're all on different systems, what are the main things to start to look at when you go back to work? And we sort of pushed out that advice. We've done one for parents of kids that are at home, you know, how you can keep your kids safe online. You know, so it's about looking forward really to the next 12 months to try and decide, you know, what the current themes are and what we want to push out each month with the advice.
Excellent. So we've talked a lot about cybercrime being well, predominant now. There's so much crime as it has a cyber element, even stuff that I hadn't expected to have that cyber. What can the industry, the cybersecurity industry itself, do to help the police to address this balance?
Well, I think, you know, it's going back as historic. The police force didn't used to have a great deal of cybercrime capacity or capability. That tended to be left to the NCA and the regional crime units. But thanks to the work of Pete Goodman, who's actually due to retire in a few days, he's the chief at Derbyshire, and he's been the MPCC lead for cybercrime across the UK. And he's given each force and each ROCU a huge injection of cash and training and staffing that's been sustained now. So I think a lot of companies probably didn't report crime because they thought the police wouldn't A, do anything, B, there wouldn't be a judicial outcome, or C, they thought it would attract bad publicity, and so they would get bad publicity for their company. And so that sort of clash of priorities, where we're wanting to solve the crime, the company's just wanting to get the data back. I think our units now understand that, and I would encourage companies to come forward and report attacks to the police. And even if they don't want to go down the sort of the investigative route, if you report it to the centres and we know about it, then at least we can gather intelligence on what the types of crime are, where they're coming from and who's doing them. You know, so that will allow us to target our protect advice in the right manner.
Excellent, excellent. So it's been a bit of a strange time these last few months. What's your own personal focus right now?
Oh, crikey, personal focus. I think staying sane while all this is happening around us. But I think, yeah, exactly. I think it's, for me, work is obviously a really big focus at the moment because there's not an awful lot else to do at the moment. So I'm concentrating on really growing our membership of our centres, getting our advice out there. There's another 4 centres that have just launched or due to launch. So we're mentoring those, me and my team are mentoring them through it. There'll be 7 soon altogether, and then another 4 to come, including Scotland. So, you know, work's a really big thing at the moment, especially with cybercrime having gone up quite a lot during lockdown, and we've seen lots of different types of attack. But I'm also concentrating on trying to get my kids to do some work, because they're teenagers and they like to stay in bed till 1 o'clock in the afternoon and do very little schoolwork. So yeah, trying to get them to do some work is also a challenge.
Well, you certainly seem to have a packed life, but let's say lockdown is kind of starting to relax now. What are you most looking forward to when you're finally free?
Oh, so many things, but I was trying to reflect upon what I would do when I first got out of lockdown, and I know everybody's in a stampede to get to the pub this weekend and to start getting to restaurants. I'm not so bothered about that. I would really like to go on a spa day. I'm really missing going on a spa day with my friends, and I really want to just have dinner with people at my house or their house. You know, that kind of Saturday night dinner party thing that we've all been missing for so long. And I guess I'd really love to go. I'm due to go sailing at the end of August to Greece, so I'm really hoping that we get there. But in the meantime, I have a week of Cornwall to look forward to soon.
Excellent, excellent. Well, good luck with all of those. Well, thank you very much for that, Rebecca. I'd also like to thank Robert Campbell, who's helped me to set up these in conversations. Look out for the next in our series, and if you're interested in taking part, please get in touch. Thanks very much.
Thanks ever so much.